a wasp in there.
Is there any kind of bias in hiring domains native?
Where are you from?
I'm from this looks a little big, so I'll leave it later. Since so many of you had questions about what life is like in Switzerland, I have decided to bring my friends over to actually answer some questions from their point of view as well, not just from my point of view. So we have all been studying in Switzerland for at least the past 3 years at least. So we have a master's student, I'm also a master's student, and you're doing your bachelor's
I
too.
want to be master's student.
Want to be soon to be master's student. And today we will be baking a cake while answering the questions that you had. And since so many of you have been asking me about what life is like in Switzerland as someone coming from India, I have decided to ask my friends to share their personal experience. So that's what we'll be doing throughout the video. And as you can see, there's a large bowl here with lots of questions from you guys. And we'll be answering the questions as we go along with every step of the baking process. Do you want to tell us whose recipe we're using today?
We're apparently using Food Cost's recipe of a moist
Chocolate cake, because we don't know how to make the cake ourselves. So we have all of the ingredients here, and yeah, let's start the...
I got stung by a bee.
So one of our friends got stung by a bee, so the production is paused for now, so cut.
What kind of permit did you get while still a student? Did that expire? How to renew? How to attain B permit?
Yeah, so for anyone who has a B permit, it's something that has to be renewed every year, and every year we pay 100 francs to renew it. every year we pay 100 francs to renew the permit. And the only way to attain a B permit would be to be a student here in Switzerland, and if I'm not mistaken, have a work permit as well. That is a B permit that can later be switched to a C permit. But we wouldn't know the details, so this is something that I would highly encourage you to look into yourself. Okay, for the next question, we have someone from TikTok, a user called Ari. Which unis have the highest acceptance rates? And if my grades are acceptable but not that great, but I have experience, do I still get accepted? Were your grades high when you got enrolled into Pharmaceutical?
Not really. I mean, the only things they looked at were, I think, computer science and math. And if you had decent grades, it was enough. But I don't know about other universities and their acceptance rate.
Right. Yeah, personally, I wouldn't know the acceptance rates of different universities, but I do remember having a lot of work experience. My grades weren't the best, but they were average, and there's a B here in the room with us. I hope we answered your question, but let's proceed with the recipe. Then
Maybe if you want information about UZH, we have an expert.
Oh yeah, for UZH, one of our production crew is in UZH. Do you know the acceptance rates of your university?
I think it's pretty high actually. It's not.
High acceptance.
But they do care about grades a lot.
So we have a wasp in this. I have to be completely honest. Today's filming is not going according to plan at all. You were telling our experience with UZH acceptance?
UZH does look at grades quite a bit. I have friends with higher grades than me, but from a less reputed university who got denied.
They got it. So what would you say is their priority? What are they looking at when they're looking to accept students?
I think they're looking at if you have the exact required credits, like if you have this much experience in computer science, these certain subjects that you must have experience in. Using your formal credits, not from an internship.
Right.
It
Okay.
needs to be formal.
But did you also need work experience for
No,
UZH?
we didn't need
okay,
work.
okay. For us, I think we needed work experience.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question that we have is from a user called Cabra7628. Really looking forward to it. My questions would be, there are 3 questions here, so I'll let each one of us answer one. So first of all, can you live on a regular student part-time job? This is a very good question. I have had many student jobs here, and I think the maximum that we can work is 15 hours per week, which lets us earn around 1,500 Swiss francs. Is that enough? I think depends largely on your living expenses and your lifestyle, right? Because your rent takes up a lot of your expenses, so I think it would be like 70% of your salary. Yeah. How doable is it? Do you want to answer? Again, depends on your lifestyle.
It depends on how much you usually spend on things, but
Yeah.
and it depends on where you stay also, because the rent
Yeah, that's
changes
true.
quite a bit.
That's true. The rent in Zug is pretty high, but for example, in places like Zurich, it's even higher. So it really depends on where you stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last question here, you can answer while we look at the recipe.
Does the uni help with it in any way? I think you can get a job at the uni part-time. So yeah, if you manage that, then I guess
We
they're
don't
helping
have
you
one
out.
of the
But other
options.
than that, they just help you try to figure out where you can get a job and maybe connect you with some companies that might possibly give you a part-time job, but not that much.
That's true, but the uni doesn't really help much when it comes to, I mean, you can apply for scholarships and foundation programs, but if you're asking whether uni actually gives you grants, then no, they do not. But I think we have exchange students who went to Luxembourg and they gave grants there, is that right? Yeah, so they give grants in places like Luxembourg to the honors.
So we have a question from TikTok from J-Dot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's how much do we actually earn monthly as an international student?
We already answered this question pretty much earlier, so maximum 1,500 Swiss francs. But that's if you work 25 francs an hour. In some places they do pay 30 francs an hour, or they pay less, they pay more. It really depends on where you work. Next question we have is from Ellie Solomon 69. Can you talk about Neuchâtel, Switzerland? No,
Never
we,
been-
we
never
don't
been
we don't know what that's like. I mean, I've been to Neuchâtel. It's a really beautiful place, but I don't know what it's like studying there. I personally don't have any friends studying there as well. Otherwise, they would have been invited to this video. But this is something that you'll have to research on your own. Sorry for not being any help. Do we have to mix it right now or later?
No, after the-
After the milk.
Now we have another one from TikTok, user 8756.
Yeah, this goes on.
This is a long question. Thanks, user. How demanding is the master's program in terms of workload and time? Do students usually have time to work or travel during the semester, or do most need to fully focus on studies? And do many students drop out or take longer to finish? So
I think we need to break this question down a bit because there's so
Yeah.
many questions in one. Yeah,
I think you guys would be a better fit for this question.
master's program.
Yeah.
Can you read the question again? The first
So,
part?
okay. How demanding was your master's in terms of workload?
To be honest, my master's is not, well, the first semester is extremely demanding because I had 6 subjects plus I had pre-master's modules that I had to do. So I think I had 8 subjects in total. And it really did take me a lot of time throughout the week to really go to classes, to do my courses. But now that I'm in my 3rd semester, I'm going to be in my 3rd semester, I only have like 2 days per week of studies, and the rest of the time I usually focus on work. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think the workload definitely at least doubled from the bachelor's to the master's.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not even that the topics you study are difficult, it's just that it's time consuming. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think you have time to travel during the semester?
Personally, I didn't. I really
Me
didn't.
neither. Me neither. I always prioritize my studies first and then work and then do travels at the end. Especially because our holidays tend to be very long. Like for example, summer holidays tend to be 2 to 3 months. So it gives us enough time to travel throughout the summer. Yeah.
And they have one final question.
Mm-hmm.
Do many of the students drop out or take more semesters to finish the masters?
Not many, but it does happen.
There is a number of students doing that. Has anyone dropped out from your bachelor's?
Yes, they have actually,
Mhm.
but I think it was mostly because it wasn't a good fit.
Right.
And they were like, okay, we were just trying it out.
So it's not like they drop out because it's too difficult.
No, not specifically.
And in terms of taking longer to do a bachelor's or a master's degree, yes, some students tend to do part-time, so that's something that you can do too. But if you're an international student, you don't have that option as far as I know. You can only do full-time of studies. This one seems to be pretty long. I'm guessing this is from YouTube. Yes. So this is from someone called Anam Thanker. Thank you for watching my videos. So we have 4 questions here. First of all, everyone is saying that Switzerland fresh graduates are not able to get jobs within 6 months. They end up returning to their home country. Is that true? Unfortunately, yes. For international students, I have a lot of my friends from the bachelor's degree who ended up returning home because they weren't able to find jobs here. And those international students who I know stayed in Switzerland started doing their master's degrees. Is that the same with your experience?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the second question, you can read an answer if you'd like.
If you're not able to get a job, can we apply for a PhD instead? Yeah, if after you finish your master's, yeah,
Probably,
you definitely can.
But I think for a PhD, you need to find a supervisor. It's not like you can just get into a uni, right?
I have
I
no
don't know
idea.
of the process for a
Yeah.
PhD. I've never looked into it.
I don't think I know anyone
Do you know
who's
anything
ever
about
done a
the
PhD. either.
PhD?
So in a lab in my university, you apply to with a professor, you work at the lab for 6 months, and then if they like the research you're doing, they keep you. I'm not sure about the visa, if the visa process is any different, but the general process for a PhD is usually that you contact a professor. If they like you, they allow you to work at the lab for a time, and then maybe offer you a longer term role.
Okay.
But it's not a formal application to into
And
a
it's not a
program.
straightforward process.
Yeah, it's not a straightforward because it really matters a lot if your research aligns with the professor's research and if they're interested in what you're doing as part of their lab.
And the third question we have, does a research-based course have value in Switzerland or should we choose Ireland or Germany?
Research based.
What is a research-based course? Is it like UZH?
Probably.
Do you think it has value in Switzerland?
Depends on which research area it is. There are certain research areas which, especially because of how close UZH is to ETH, the research community, especially in Zurich, is very developed and a lot of companies are working specifically in research in Zurich. Like for one, I know a lot of computer science companies like Meta and IBM have opened offices in Zurich that are pretty much there because of how close it is to ETH, and they can absorb a lot of graduates from them.
So it is of value.
It is of value, yeah.
Okay. Should we choose Ireland or Germany instead?
Again, it depends because I think Germany has a few universities on par with ETH in certain disciplines. I'm not too sure about Ireland, but I think it just depends on which research subject you're talking about because it's different for each subject.
Absolutely, and I don't think we have any expertise or like experience to say whether Ireland or Germany is better because I personally don't know anyone there and we do have friends from all over the world. I mean, I have a friend in Dublin, but I don't know about, this being related to a research-based course. After 6 months, what's the minimum salary one can earn from a part-time job in Switzerland? So the minimum salary that you can earn is up to 4,000 Swiss francs per month, but this is without the taxes being deducted. The taxes all depend on which canton that you're in. But again, this is just the minimum salary. It's always higher than 4,000 Swiss francs if you're a professional employee in Switzerland.
So the next question we have is from Simran Patnaik, 4808. So I'm guessing it's YouTube.
Yep, that's something too.
So the question is there any kind of bias in hiring towards natives? Are people from outside who studied there treated as the last option while hiring for a job? Please shed some light, thanks.
What a valid question. This is pretty much what all of my videos are about, actually. So would you like to answer the question from your experience?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not really a bias, but it's just that the process to hire people who are not from Switzerland or within the EU, it's very, what do you say, like,
It's a very complicated process for us. Yeah.
and so they just would rather choose to hire locals because of that process. But yeah.
Yeah. What else is there? Are people from outside who studied there treated as the last option while hiring a job? I wouldn't say as the last in particular because this is never a personal thing. It's just a thing when it comes to the visa process. Because the visa process is so difficult, well, it's actually not that difficult, but companies don't want to go through the visa process. That's why we are seen as the last option. But that doesn't mean it's completely impossible for you to get a job. It really all depends on how hard you try, how much you network, how good your CV is. But yeah, sometimes you are not the problem. It's just difficult to get hired.
And a big part of it has to do with the fact that it's not just the country picking people that they want. It's that they have a limited quota per
Yeah,
canton
that's also true.
of how many permits they can give out. And
Yes.
so they have to, it's almost like first come, first served, but also at the same time, they would rather go for people who are in middle management or higher management.
So I hope we have shed enough light on that topic.
So,
So, next steps of the cake.
This is
You wanna mix?
a very short question from Z1RKT. Where are you from? India.
India.
You'll never know. I'm from. I guess we'll never know. This looks a little big, so I'll leave it for later. So the next question is from Banu Ozdevechi 1662. I was wondering how many hours of classes per week for masters, and are classes mandatory to attend? How many hours per week? I remember my classes were from Monday to Wednesday from 9 to 6, sometimes from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. But in my last semester, I think we only had 2 days per week. I don't know how many hours, to be honest, because it really depends from semester to semester. How about you? I think he's
Yeah, I'm just asking the-
consulting with his classmates. How many hours per bachelor's? Do you
There's
remember?
3 days and one class on each day except one day, which was 3 classes. And each class was about 2 hours long almost. Yeah. So
Okay, and are classes mandatory to attend?
it wasn't for us, but I know certain masters do have mandatory attendance, at least like 70% sometimes, I don't know.
Thanks.
So yeah, it just depends on your masters.
Yeah, true. My classes were not mandatory to attend, but if you didn't attend and you missed out most of the lecture courses, it would be really difficult in your exam. So I would highly recommend you to attend nonetheless. Just pour slowly. Let's hope it works. We're done making the cake, and now it's time to bake it. So cake is here, the oven is here. So we have our cake ready to eat. So we have a few more questions. So we decided to answer the questions while we were enjoying our cake. I hope it's good. So let's do a taste test first. Let's answer the next few questions. So this question is from a user called Sidhu Muswala, thank you. Sidhu Muswala 9058. Dear, how much do you earn during part-time job? How much do you earn with a full-time job? Do you manage all expenses through job like college fees and other activities? I actually have so many videos on how much you can earn with a part-time job and a full-time job, but
Link it to
basically,
this video.
yeah, exactly. I'm
So
gonna
go
link
check
it
it out.
somewhere up here, literally.
Up
Up there, okay, I'll link it up there.
The next one's from Anna Bay, and the question is it a good idea studying pharmaceutical science in Switzerland for bachelor's? Have a great day.
Have a great day to you too.
Thanks.
Do we know anything about pharmaceutical sciences?
No, not really. But the only thing I could possibly say is that there's a lot of companies that have to do with pharmaceuticals that are from Switzerland, like Roche and
Novartis, they're right at our
So,
campus too, right?
Yeah, and so maybe you have a better chance of actually getting some work.
That's true.
This is from KM4611. If one's child happened to study postgrad program in Switzerland, would he be able to get a dependent pass for himself?
This is what we were discussing earlier. And honestly, unfortunately, I don't think that's possible. Might be possible for a spouse, but after having a look into it, for EU nationals, it's easier to get a dependent pass. But if you're from the outside of EU, then it won't be so simple. So in short, no, it's not possible. You might want to apply for different visas, like tourist visa. I don't know what other visas there are actually. Yeah. All right. And we have 2 more here. The next question is from Ali Rustayanpur. We didn't answer this one yet, right?
Sure. Are people really rich there? In many videos, I've seen luxury cars. Extremely rich.
But there are broke people here.
Example. The second one. Yeah.
The second question is, I have watched many videos about Switzerland and all of them said that making Swiss friends is really hard. Is that true? Yes.
Short and direct.
Short
Swiss.
and direct, yes. It
Super
actually is quite difficult, but you can find, international students. The thing is, Swiss people do tend to be friendly, but it takes a while for them to open up to you and for you to get really close to them.
And the third one is, without air conditioner, living won't be hard there? Question mark. Well, if you're someone who's used to air conditioners, yeah, possibly during the summers, because there's also no ceiling fans that are usually there in flats. So you might have to buy a separate fan at least if you want to manage to sleep at night.
We have, would you like to take this one?
Yeah. We have a question from Utkarsh Varun. It's, how expensive is student life in Switzerland? Any tips to save money?
Student life is pretty expensive
It
here.
still works out to be expensive. And tips to save money? I don't know,
Shopping.
Yeah, well, pretty much. I was gonna say Migros for the M budget.
True.
Yeah.
But again, I have so many videos on this topic, so I'll link it somewhere here. Yeah, and the last question, I think this is also going to be about finances. Okay, the next question is from Arsalan Sayed 2610. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
I was told that Zurich is much more expensive compared to Munich. How much do scholarships and part-time jobs help? Can anyone compare it to Munich? Because I personally haven't been there.
The only thing I know is that Munich has very expensive, the real estate there is expensive, so I think that it's as bad as Zurich, or if not worse, from what I've understood. So actually, if you compare the two, maybe it's similar costs, but it's still gonna be very expensive. That's the only thing I know about Munich.
Yeah, because Zurich is crazy expensive, especially if you're coming here as a
Yeah.
student. Everything is much higher.
I had a friend from Germany, and he said Munich is one of the most expensive cities in Germany as well. So I think it's
The
definitely
prices are
comparable.
comparable to
Yeah.
Zurich. Yeah. So I hope that we've answered all of your questions, and of course if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And if you've enjoyed a video like this, maybe potentially sometime in the future we'll do it again. And in the meantime, we're going to enjoy our cake. Do you guys have any closing remarks?
Bye.
Bye.
Suck
Subscribe.